rice, it had to have some sort of some of Monsanto's glyphosate in it, because Monsanto said in the previous court trials that if anything, any green thing is sprayed with Monsanto's herbicide Roundup and it does not die, it's their gene that's in it. So that's why we suspected immediately it was Monsanto's gene, herbicide gene, Roundup gene in it. And that's why we asked Monsanto to come, because what they had said, that if a farmer thinks he's contaminated, he should notify Monsanto. And that's what we did on what they had said in the courts before.
What are the Schmeisers' principles of food and agriculture?
Well, first of all, that all humans, number one, all humans have a right to food or to produce it. And that number two is that natural systems must be protected so that they can produce healthy food. Humans have a right to safe and nutritious food. And no rules should prevent countries controlling food imports. And everyone has a right to information about how their food is produced. Regions should have the right to regulate their own agriculture. Local production and consumption should be encouraged. So like we say, local consumption or local produce, then you save the energy and the fuel that it's required to move it thousands of miles, which happens to a lot of us in North America. And seeds are a common property resource. And that's where we felt very strongly that no one should have the right to the future of seeds. And then no life form should be patented, and Terminator seed should be globally banned. And we have a strong opinion that Terminator seed should never, ever be introduced, because to us it's I think the most serious assault on life we've ever seen on this planet, when they want to come out with a gene that terminates the future of the germination of that seed. So that would totally control the world seed supply.
Explain what you mean by a Terminator seed.
A Terminator gene, basically, quite simply, is a gene that's put into a seed, and when the seed becomes a plant, all the seeds from that plant are sterile, and so it cannot be used the following year for seed. But the danger also of the Terminator gene, it can cross-pollinate into indigenous crops, heirloom crops, and render those seeds from those plants also sterile. So it's a termination of the future of life.
So it forces farmers to buy seeds every year rather than to conserve seeds so that they can be used every year.
Exactly, and that's why we say it's the greatest assault of life we've ever seen on this planet, where you terminate the future of life. Farmers would be forced to buy the seed each year, whether you're a gardener, a tree planter, or a grain producer. And then another one, farmers, or freedom to exchange seeds should be protected. And one of the reasons for that is that in the seed industry, we say that one glove does not fit all. My wife and I were developing seeds and plants suitable for our local climatic and soil conditions, but we probably would have went to Montana or to the next province or 200 miles away. Climatic conditions are different, soil conditions are different, and that's why the farmers should always have the right to develop seeds and plants suitable for their own conditions. And that should never, ever be taken away, because we would lose the biodiversity of our seeds and plants. And then farmers should have the right for their land and to be free of genetic contamination.
And how far have you gotten with these principles? Do you feel like in the world independent farmers are losing ground or gaining? I mean, is Monsanto gaining strength or losing? Well,
to answer that, I think that on the 4 crops that were introduced in 1996, which was maize or corn, soybeans, cotton, especially in Canada, canola, is that it would be very difficult to find a way, and scientists say they don't know if it ever can be recalled back out of the environment. Have we been able to stop it? I would say yes, because there is more concern, because when they wanted to introduce GMO wheat, GMO rice, GMO alfalfa, there was a big uproar by people in both our countries that no more GMO should be introduced because we saw the damage what the 4 have done. So that's why it's so important what we do today will affect generations to come in the seed, control the seed and food supply of this world.
Finally, you now travel around the world. I mean, you were a member of the Saskatchewan legislature, 67 to 71. You were the mayor of your hometown of Bruno in Saskatchewan. Were you traveling much then? And now, after these lawsuits against Monsanto, how much are you spreading word like seeds around the world?
Well, I could be probably traveling full times if I accepted all the invitations, but to give you an example, last year I probably was gone 10 months from Saskatchewan all over every continent except Antarctica to bring this information and awareness. So, and at our age, we're in retirement age, we felt that's the least we can do. And one of the other reasons that we look at it is, as I mentioned before, the future generation. My wife and I, 15 grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren. And then we look at what kind of a future are we going to leave for them. And another thing that we're very concerned about is how much of the funding for our research and our university now comes from corporations. And that really scares me, because we know that if the funding is applied to these universities and land-grant colleges in the United States, how much control will the companies then have over our universities? So what kind of a future? My wife and I have 6 grandchildren in university right now. What kind of future will they have if their academic freedom is controlled? And we don't want to see that. A scientist should be free to express and release the findings that he develops or finds.
Has Monsanto dared to take you on again?
They've threatened us many times.
How do they threaten you?
I'll give you an example. My wife and I were speaking in the Parliament in Cape Town in South Africa. And coming out of the assembly, one of Monsanto's representatives from Johannesburg ran face-to-face into us. And he lost his cool. And he said to my wife and myself, and he shook his fist in our face and said, "Nobody stands up to Monsanto. We are going to get both of you somehow, someday, and destroy you both." Phone calls my wife would receive. "You better watch it, they're going to get you." They would come into our driveway and watch what my wife would be doing all day. They would use their vehicles and sit on the roads alongside of our farmland, watch us all day long, to try and to intimidate us and to put fear into us.
So what keeps you going?
I think that we feel that we have to stand up for the rights of farmers around the world. All my life I've been in agriculture and worked for agricultural policies and laws, that we feel that a farmer should never ever lose the rights to seeds or plants. Because if we do, we're going to be back to a serf system, we're going to be back to a feudal system that our forefathers, our grandfathers left countries in Europe many years ago to get away from. Now in less than 100 years we've come full circles where the control is not by kings or lords or barons, but now it's corporations.
Percy Schmeiser, I want to thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning in the beautiful sunshine.
Right Livelihood Laureate and Canadian farmer Percy Schmeiser. For more information, you can go to our website at democracynow.org. Yes, this is Democracy Now!, and we're broadcasting from Bonn, Germany. When first